Hey guys, so we have some transitioning energy going on this weekend. Mars, our fire planet, ruling our energy, our action, our behaviors generally, moving out of the sign of Taurus, moving into the sign of Gemini. This should speed things up actually. Places where we've been feeling stagnant, places where we've been feeling stuck, places where we've been feeling like things just haven't been moving forward for us, or our action has been delayed in some way, are likely to start opening up, gaining some more opportunities, and gaining a little bit more momentum over the coming weeks. We also have some strong Mercury themes going on this weekend, aside from Mars moving into the sign of Gemini, ruled by Mercury, placing a prominence on Mercury, currently in the sign of Virgo, another sign that Mercury rules, and coming into an opposition with Neptune in the sign of Pisces this weekend. This is like the most purified version of a Mercury-Neptune opposition. Not a good weekend for decision making, you guys. Not a good weekend for important discussions. We are likely to sort of not be seeing things clearly. Misunderstandings are very probable in the energy this weekend, and especially with Mars moving into the sign of Gemini, there could be some conflicts, there could be some fights, there could be some debates that are definitely coming up and sort of coloring and characterizing our experiences this weekend. So, all that being said, you guys, let's get into the charts. Let's see what is playing out day by day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as we head into our weekend. Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Today is Friday, August 19th, 2022. My name is Aubrey, and this is your astrological outlook of the day. We're going to talk about Friday the 19th, Saturday the 20th, and Sunday the 21st. Astrology, energetics going on in this report today. The biggest, like I said, we are in a transitional weekend energetically. Mars action, our energy body, what we're doing, how we're behaving, changing signs, moving out of Taurus, moving into the sign of Gemini. This is sort of shaking things loose a little bit, and it's definitely representing a shift from a more stagnant, fixed energy to a more versatile, mobile, forward movement oriented energy. Options, choices, decisions, things sort of loosening up and flowing a little bit more in terms of the actions that we're trying to take moving forward at this point in time, with Mars now entering the sign of Gemini. And so this is freshening things up, livening things up a little bit, and also in the energy to start our weekend on Friday. Actually, like energetically, symbolically, there's a lot of indications coming through about some type of new beginnings that are coming into fruition starting this weekend, and maybe carrying us through the rest of this month as we head towards our new moon in Virgo. But there is some type of theme of like a fresh perspective, something new, a new shift, a new mindset. There's also a lot of mental energy, emphasis on mental energy going on this weekend as well. So that's another thing that may just be very highlighted in our experience at this point in time. This could also represent like a shift in perspective, like sort of like a whole new day or a whole new beginning in terms of like our mental perception of things now as well. But I want to actually start with the Sabian symbols, talking about our energy for Friday, because we have like several references symbolically just outside of the aspects and what else is transpiring this weekend to start our weekend that is like referencing a lot of the same things along the same themes. And it is all about this like new beginning or return of the light or return of the sun. And this could be like, a return of some type of like conscious awareness or illumination going on within us. So the position of the sun on Friday is coming to 27 degrees of Leo. That Sabian symbol is daybreak, the luminescence of dawn in the eastern sky. And then we have the position of Venus on Friday as well, 10 degrees of Leo. Early morning dew salutes the sunlight. So there's another reference to this like early morning in the morning. This is like the fresh start. This is a new chance. This is a new opportunity for growth and development and expression. And so the sun at the position today, talking about the daybreak, luminescence of dawn in the eastern sky as well. This is also the east. The sun rises in the east. This is the birth of the sun. This is the birth of the light. This is like a return of the light or a new beginning. And then also Venus at that degree early early morning dew salutes the sunlight. And then it's also interesting because we also have the position of Jupiter right now, who is currently in a loose trine with Venus still at 8 degrees of Aries. Jupiter has retrograded back to 8 degrees of Aries. That Sabian symbol is a large woman's hat with streamers blown by an east wind. So there's another reference to the east, the beginning of something, right? We have the dawn on the eastern sky, we have the east wind, we have the early morning dew saluting the sunlight, and then it's also interesting on top of that because we also have Mercury ruling Gemini in its home sign of Virgo, very powerful right now. We are heading towards our new moon in Virgo cycle that Mercury will rule, while Mars is also moving into the sign ruled by Mercury. Mercury is gaining some prominence in the sky right now. Mercury is also going to be going retrograde in the beginning of September. Yes, we'll have that to deal with as well. But today, Mercury is at 23 degrees of Virgo, and that Sabian symbol is a lion tamer rushes fearlessly into the circus arena. And the symbolism of the lion, this also reminds me of Leo, this also reminds me of the sun, this also reminds me of the light and the illumination and this new beginning energy that is coming up, but also in a way that maybe is like here to save the day in something, like some type of idea or some type of understanding or some type of communication or some type of an awareness that we are gaining, maybe this like new lease on life that perhaps is coming through in this energy is really saving us from ourselves or from our circumstances or from the trajectory that things appeared to have been going on in some type of a way. So interesting degree also for the position of Mercury today. But this symbol also does make me think of something like that's like a staged event also, or like a setup in some type of a way. Like, yes, that lion tamer is rushing in fearlessly to save the day, but the thing is it's like an act and he already has this relationship with a lion and it doesn't really require the amount of strength and bravery and courage that it appears to. There is this sort of illusionary or delusional aspect of things that may be playing out in the energy today as well. Things may not be exactly as they appear. We want to sort of watch any type of like savior situation or scenario that we may find ourselves in over the course of this weekend, with Mercury moving into the opposition with Neptune. And in the context of this degree as well, I need to say on Friday, we are very much in this Mercury-Neptune opposition energy as well, and it is building, and things are just generally not truly as they appear when we have Mercury, our mind, our conscious awareness, like our mental state, our mental cognition coming into an opposition with Neptune ruling fantasy and illusion and delusion and ideals and spirituality and like fading away from all that there is and connecting into source and oneness. Like it just makes like tangible, logical, rational, streamlined thought a little bit clouded, a little bit murky, a little bit hard to pin down and to like decipher truth, like fact from fiction, fact from fantasy. So that is sort of what we're dealing in this weekend, and we want to be aware that things may not be presenting exactly as they truly are in the energy this weekend, even though we still do seem to be on this brink of this rebirth or this new awareness or this new lease on life or this like awakening or something like that, illumination that maybe finding its way to us somehow. We just want to keep in mind that we have Mercury and Neptune in an opposition all weekend. And so even though we may be wanting to wear those rose-colored glasses or get caught in some type of idealized romantic or love or partnership or connection situation, like things, decisions, choices, commitments that are made in Mercury opposition Neptune energy do not necessarily have a likelihood of panning out in a way that is like a positive outcome. Okay, it can bring disappointment as like a final outcome of whatever it is that we're dealing with. So that. Now let's talk specifically about the energy as it may be coming in on Friday, what we may like feel like when we start the day. The moon is going to be moving into Gemini on Friday, but we will start the day with the moon still in Taurus, conjuncting Mars at the very last degree of Taurus. This could be really bringing up some of this like irritation, internalized anger, frustration, problems going on within the home environment, fights and conflicts within the home, perhaps could be over resources, could be over money, could be over uh, self-indulgence or laziness or ego or stuff like that with the moon coming into the conjunction with Mars in the sign of Taurus. But it could also just be because of perhaps like a perceived lack of forward movement or being stuck or being immobile in some type of a way. But this is going to shift, and this shift is going to carry on throughout the course of the next couple months, because the moon will move out of conjunction with Mars in the end of Taurus and enter the sign of Gemini, which Mars will be doing tomorrow as well. So we're first going to feel it in terms of the shift of the moon. The moon, when it leaves Taurus, leaves the conjunction to Mars, it moves into the sign of Gemini. We should feel a little bit more like freed up, and some options and some opportunities, a little bit of versatility, maybe figuring out some ways to maybe like get out of some situations, or some solutions to some situations maybe sort of coming through for us, just generally helping us to feel a little bit more mobile and a little bit less like stuck in maybe whatever situation we've been like butting heads with, or just dealing with that Mars moon energy, just internalized frustration, internalized like angst and irritation, hostility and stuff like that could be coming through as well. But when the moon moves into Gemini, this should definitely shift and put an emphasis back on information, what we're thinking about, what we're learning about, what we're talking about, interactions, things to go, lists to get done, like people to talk to, conversations that need to be had, meetings, plans, like all this type of stuff. It's like whatever is like frustrating us earlier in the day, it's like something happens and stuff just starts moving and we get so busy, we just like stop worrying about it, or stop focusing on it so much. And like I said, this is going to be the vibe that carries through the weekend, because Mars is going to leave Taurus, and this should generally, like more specifically, alleviate these vibes as well. We're getting movement, we're getting options, we're getting opportunities, we're getting answers when we have this Gemini energy starting to come in. But we want to be very careful, because like I said, this is extreme Mercury Neptune oppositional energy that we are dealing in. And that is because both of these planets right now are really operating in a very like powerful and pure and refined version of their their influences, their energetic influences, because we have Mercury in his home sign of Virgo, very, very strong. And we also have Neptune in his home sign of Pisces, very, very strong. So these energies are like very pure, like I said, very pure, very refined. This is like a picturesque Mercury Neptune opposition that we have going on, which can indicate a few days of mental confusion, lack of clarity. We can feel overwhelmed by information generally without an ability to process all of it, or to like really wrap our head around it, or to understand it, or to make sense of it in some type of way. It can bring a great spiritual awareness actually, but it can be sort of hard to tell the difference between whether we are really truly like gaining access to like a deeper truth, or if we're just in sort of like a state of personal delusion, or just overwhelmed by like all the information that is hitting us and stuff, just sort of confused by everything that is coming at us. Not good energy, like I said, all weekend for commitments, for new relationships, for decisions, for discussions, important discussions or relations that we need to have with others. We probably want to wait on that again, because things that we decide in this energy, things that we want to start in this energy, things that seem like they're happening in this energy, can have a tendency of leading to some type of disappointment in the future, or it can sort of just like all crumble or fall apart in some type of a way. But again, even though whatever this process is leading to is actually like the beginning of some type of new like conscious awareness or something like that that may be coming to us. So we have those type of things, both of those things sort of like interwoven and interplaying off of each other, which is not really surprising, because we're talking about Mercury, we're talking about the Gemini vibes, and Mercury also rules polarities and like oppositions that somehow find a way to come together. So that makes sense as well. Also, this is not great energy for any type of like detail oriented or like precision or like focused work that we need to get done. We may have sort of a hard time like really concentrating on like, you know, like math, or like things that like really require like concentration and focus along the more like logical, linear, rational mindsets. This is a great day for sort of like, you know, like poetry or like fantasy writing, or like really like creatively indulging our fantasies through some type of outlet in some type of way can be really good energy for that. But we just really want to be careful that we are, thinking before we take action, like thinking before we speak, that we are like practicing active listening, active communicating, like really making sure that we are saying what we think that we're saying and we're hearing what we think that we're hearing, and especially that we are not jumping to any type of conclusions or getting into arguments or fights or disagreements based on a lack of clarity, based on a lack of proper judgment, based on a misconception or a misunderstanding, because that is also like prime in the field this weekend, and especially moving into the energy for Saturday and Sunday. We just have lots of this Mars energy going on, and then it's going to be in the sign of Gemini, which brings up conflicts, disagreements, arguments, fights, in terms of like debates and stuff like that. And when we've got this energy that is just likely to be promoting a lack of understanding or misunderstanding stuff, there could be a lot of fights going on this weekend over just genuinely like missing each other, like lost in translation somewhere, like fighting over something that is not even what's actually happening, could definitely be going on. So we sort of want to be aware of that. And the shift, though, along some, it's like the shift energetically that we're dealing with in terms of Mars moving into the sign of Gemini is definitely going to take the focus along the lines of what we're learning now, what information we are gaining access to, what we are hearing, and what we are going to actually do about it. This is an energy that is going to promote the active, making some active choices and decisions that are moving us forward in some way. But now, you guys, to start this weekend and moving through this weekend with Mercury in the opposition to Neptune, not the time to do it. Okay, let's talk about Saturday now. This is probably, Saturday and Sunday are the more significant days of the weekend. Saturday, this is the day where we actually have Mars moving into the sign of Gemini. This should be a palpable shift in vibes. Like, this is a much more communicative energy. This is a much more out and about energy. This is a much more busy energy. We are likely to just be motivated to get some things done, much more social energy. This is a energy that is very motivated to like be mingling and socializing with others and stuff, but it's also kind of like a verbally aggressive energy and a socially aggressive energy, and an energy that does not run from like I've been saying, does not run from a fight, does not run from an argument, does not run from a debate, like really has some verbal artillery, like some words for weapons and stuff like that can definitely be a strong theme when we're dealing with Mars in the sign of Gemini. But just like I was saying, like just a much more active energy. Gemini is a mutable sign. This is a changeable sign. This is an adaptable sign. This is us making changes. This is us making adaptations to the plan, to the future course of things. This is us getting unstuck. This is us moving forward. This is us making connections. This is us, like I was saying, like being out and about, gaining information, gaining awareness, gaining insight, but also more motivated to fight for our ideas and to defend like our perspective and our mindset, and to have sort of like the sword, like the verbal sword, you know what I mean? Not be afraid to like swing some. This is King of Swords energy that we have going on when we have Mars coming into Gemini. So vibe shift for sure. We should be palpably feeling this. This is a much more mentally stimulated energy. Like we should just be feeling more like talking and having more to say, very more so passionate about our ideas and stuff like that as well, motivated to express ourselves in this energy. But we also, for our day that Mars enters the sign of Gemini this year, we also like already have our moon in the sign of Gemini. The moon moved into Gemini yesterday, remember, formed the conjunction to Mars and then moved into Gemini. And now we have Mars on the heel of the moon moving into Gemini as well. So Mars moving into Gemini is definitely putting an emphasis on these Gemini themes, but with the moon there as well, this is really like activating this energy. This should definitely be like a strong, palpable shift that we have going on. And right now, I mean, Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, like I said, is in the exact opposition as well to Neptune on Saturday simultaneously. Now, the moon is not forming an exact square to these planets yet. That will be coming into fruition tomorrow on Sunday. But with this exact opposition playing out on the day that Mars moves into the sign of Gemini, this is a day where, like I was saying in the energy for Friday, there is an even more enhanced and increased opportunity for fights, arguments, debates, harsh words, challenges over our intelligence or over information or education or communication or ideas, but also the misconception, the misconstruing, the misunderstanding, the misperceiving of these very same things. With Mars and moving into Gemini, and the moon in Geminis, while hurt feelings, this could also represent some really hurt feelings that are coming up as a result of these misunderstandings and these arguments that are going on. And this is a sign, these are mutable signs we're talking about. We're talking about Gemini, we're talking about Virgo, we're talking about Pisces. This is the breakdown of things. This is an erosion of in things as well. And this Mercury influence, this could be connections, this could be partnerships. There could be some for real like misunderstandings in partnerships, connections, pairs, like pairings, relationships and stuff like that, that are causing some conflicts and simultaneously some breakdown that is causing some hurt feelings as well in some type of way with the way that these particular planets are playing out like this weekend. With Mercury in the opposition to Neptune, fights, debates, arguments over misunderstandings. Like I said, not probably thinking and seeing things entirely clearly right now, and that is likely to be what is playing a major role in some of the stuff that may be coming up this weekend specifically. Facts clouded by ideals, delusions, fantasies, and emotions as well. We may be really like caught up in some type of like emotional, also like disappointment or disillusionment that is making us sort of attach more to our emotional state of things than maybe like the actual rational, logical state of what we have going on right now. We may be getting really attached to perhaps some like more negative emotions that are coloring our ability to see the truth of our reality clearly in this energy as well. Facts and logic clouded by ideals, delusions, and fantasies. Wanting to act to change things somehow though, with Mars moving into the sign of Gemini. Like we want to make a change. We want to make some progress. We want to make something happen, and we are willing to work for it. We're willing to fight for it with Mars coming to the sign of Gemini, and we're willing to speak our mind. Like with Mars in the sign of Gemini, like we have the courage to say what we're thinking. Like we are not running away. And that's why it's more likely tendency for these fights and these arguments and these debates and these conflicts and stuff, because we are not afraid to say what's on our mind. Like we have the confidence and the motivation and the willpower, and we're very assertive. Like it's just a totally different Mars vibe than we were dealing with when we had the Taurus energy going on. Thinking before we act, though, is something that we are going to want to keep in mind for the next 2 months when Mars is transiting the sign of Gemini. Now, with this moon in Gemini, the moon is also, though, today in the mid degrees of Gemini, acting as a midpoint, making a sextile to both Venus in Leo and Jupiter in Aries in their like now loose trine with each other. So there may actually be some relationship or some financial or romantic dimensions to whatever is playing out in this as well. And people are likely to actually kind of be being like a bit more sweet in their like surface expression than maybe they normally would be with these Mars, Gemini, Mercury, opposition Neptune energy that we have playing out today. But like wearing rose-colored glasses is something that a lot of people may be doing, and also maybe like trying to like avoid or to hide from any type of like harsh or difficult conversation that may be coming up as well in this energy. Another thing that I want to mention in the energy that we have going on for Saturday, I mean, Saturday is just like having Mars move into the sign of Gemini while the moon is in the sign of Gemini, and Mercury, ruler of Gemini, is an exact opposition to Neptune. This is just a recipe, again, for some type of an emotional upset coming up, emotional conflict coming up, emotional wounding coming up as a result of some type of misconception. Or it could also be self-criticism or self-judgment, or not being able or perceiving ourselves as being able to rise to an ideal that we have for ourselves that is hurting our feelings or making us feel bad about ourselves as well. Like that could also be sort of an aspect of what is playing in terms of the way this specific energy is playing out. But I wanted to say, I feel like there's some guidance actually that's coming through in the Sabian symbols that are present on Saturday. And it's also interesting because Saturday is another 222 day. It's Saturday, August 20th. So we're looking at, 2022 in terms of the way that the date is written. So I feel like, again, it is another, more emphasized day, probably energetically, in terms of this paradigm shift that is underway in our collective energetic transformation into the age of Aquarius. But there's an emphasis on trees going on in the Sabian symbols on Saturday. We have actually 3 Sabian symbols that are all talking about trees. We have the sun coming to 28 degrees of Leo on Saturday. That Sabian symbol is many little birds on the limb of a large tree. Now, this is also, to me, bringing up the themes of communication and information like spreading. Definitely some type of emphasis going on multiple perspectives, information, like chirping away, like not holding back in terms of like the flow of the info at this point in time, but many little birds on the limb of a large tree. So we have that tree emphasized there. The position of the earth today at 28 degrees of Aquarius on Saturday, a tree felled and sawed to ensure a supply of wood for winter. So this is another use of a tree. So we have one use of a tree. This is a support or a home for all of these little birds and this information and these ideas that are spreading. But then we can also use this tree for some type of resource that can get us through a period of time where resources are limited. And then we also have Venus at 11 degrees of Leo on Saturday, children on a swing in a huge oak tree. So there we have another version of a tree being used for something else. And in this version of the tree, it is being used to like provide safety and security for like the joy and the pleasure and the enjoyment of these children. So we have various utilizations of the theme of a tree, which is grounded, which is rooted, going on in the energy on Saturday in the midst of this Mars into Gemini, Mercury opposition Neptune energy. I feel like this is telling us that groundedness, versatility, resourcefulness, and options, being open to options, are what will help us to sort of stay strong and standing tall and like really rooted to the ground and rooted in ourselves in this energy that is perhaps creating quite a strong schism or dichotomy between fantasy and fact, reality and illusion in this energy. That's the thing. Mercury and Neptune in opposition to each other, with Mars also moving into Gemini, the moon there as well. It's like we don't know what's real and what's not. And we don't want to make a decision based in not fully understanding which octave or which like end of the spectrum we are coming from. You know what I mean? And so this is where that confusion can come up, and also like the tension internally, especially moving into Sunday. Let's move on now and let's actually talk about the energy that we have going into Sunday. Sunday, we are basically in a lot of the same vibes as we had going on Saturday, but it's heightened in intensity. While Mercury, Neptune is no longer exact to the degree because Mercury moves so fast, this is separated. Mercury has moved 1 degree ahead. We have the moon coming to like the exact square to both Mercury and Neptune, 1 degree off exact opposition in the energy on Sunday. So this is setting up a T-square between Mercury in Virgo, Neptune in Pisces, the moon in Gemini, and we do also have Mars in the sign of Gemini as well. So this square aspect coming to an exact position between the moon and these two planets in opposition, Mercury and Neptune, and Mars presence in Gemini as well, is taking the energy that we had on Saturday and sort of like ratcheting it up in intensity even more because of the tightness of the square and this T-square that's setting up with the moon and the energy on Sunday. The moon moves into Gemini to the exact square to Mercury and Neptune in opposition right now, giving us a mutable T-square that may be breaking down or eroding connections, partnerships, mindsets, fantasies, and mental states in some way generally. There could be some very strange mental energy that is sort of playing out in the field on Sunday. We may, like mental issues, mental health issues too, may be sort of rising. There may be like some very like nervous energy or anxiety that is coming through, cognitive dissonance and projection as well. People like genuinely not being able to process the state of their own reality. Delusional energy, perhaps, playing out for sure on Sunday. Breaking things down. Breaking down our understandings of things, breaking down connections, breaking down partnerships, breaking down ideas, and like I said, attitudes, mental states. This type of stuff very highlighted on the field. We want to watch being overly self-critical or judgmental on Sunday, as these squares could be coming up, bringing this internalized tension. We could, like I was saying in the energy for Saturday, like be feeling like we are not rising to the ideals that we have set for ourselves, being very nitpicky, self-critical, self-judgmental with Mercury in the sign of Virgo. Also, though, this is helping us to see cracks in facades. It's helping us to actually see through illusions in one capacity. But then again, we're back in this place. Like, is it real? Like, am I seeing these really deep truths? Like, is that really what I'm coming to right now? Or am I just being completely delusional? Like, it's like an inability to, for a fact, tell the difference between fantasy and reality, truth and illusion. The way this is playing out. We want to be very, very careful about making decisions and judgments, specifically Saturday, specifically Sunday, and we just don't want to do it if possible, because like I was saying, choices, decisions, partnerships, commitments, even like things that we are like working on right now, again, like especially if they take like focus or precision or detail oriented anything, are likely to end in disappointment in some type of a way. And it's just like, if we can just not set ourselves up for that, like just not be really doing that into this energy and see it for what it is, like an opportunity really for us to sort of wade through the madness and just we're observing. Okay, this is a very observational energy. We are observing things, we are observing the reality, we are observing the fantasy, because we just might really not be super sure. Conclusions that we think we are coming to, we may find out later we were really off about. So we really just want to be very open-minded. Again, like I was saying about that tree stuff that came up on Saturday, grounded, versatile, resourceful, and open to options, open-minded in this energy is probably the best way we can really navigate it for a positive outcome. And now let's talk about Mars and Gemini. Again, this is bringing up these information war vibes, like info war vibes. I was talking about, if you guys watched my August report, I was talking about how heading into this new moon and Virgo cycle, there was a lot of energy that really seemed to be representing some type of information war that was going to be playing out throughout this period of times in terms of us personally deciphering, like I was saying, our own reality versus fantasy, so that we know how to act, so we know what like direction to take, what action to take, like us sort of perhaps like being at war within our own psyche in terms of trying to sort through fact from fiction, fantasy from reality, in order so that we can make a decision and move forward. This may be something we're struggling with throughout the course of this next couple weeks and this month, but also on the grander scale, on the macrocosm level, like this battle of narratives and perspectives and ideas and polarities is likely to be sort of intensifying on the world stage, on like I said, the macrocosm level as well. This could also represent some type of war on the mind, and war on education, war on what we're learning, information across the board, communications as well. There could be some type of issues with like freedom of speech or our ability to just generally communicate. There could be some like conflicts or something going on among like social media platforms or like news communication, like that type of stuff, headlines, like media outlets. There just could be some stuff coming up over this next period of time, you guys. And I feel like it's sort of kicking off now with Mars moving into the sign of Gemini in the context of this Gemini moon that we have going on and the opposition between Mercury and Neptune. Mars rules war, and Mercury and Neptune in opposition, especially in their signs of rulership. This is fact and fiction, a war for the mind. In terms of the narrative, I feel like is how it's playing out, but people want to make a choice. People want to take an action, and people are willing to fight for their understanding, for their mindset, for their perception, for their belief. Lots of polarities, lots of dichotomies, lots of people pitted against each other. There could just be some interesting things coming our way, but ultimately, you guys, this weekend, to start the weekend, was talking about these themes of rebirth. We have Mars moving to the sign of Gemini. We're about to gain a whole new perspective on things, probably. And I feel like this is definitely being represented by everything that is playing out throughout the course of the weekend. And so we want to remember, like, despite the more confusing energy that we may be in right now, it's also representing a rebirth for us in one way or another in terms of our perception, in terms of our understanding, in terms of our conscious awareness of things generally. Let's talk about the Sabian symbols for a minute that we have playing out on Sunday. First of all, the sun, 29 degrees of Leo, a mermaid emerges from the ocean waves, ready for rebirth in human form. We have the earth on Sunday, 29 degrees of Aquarius, a butterfly emerging from a chrysalis. We have Mercury, 26 degrees of Virgo on Sunday. A boy with a censer serves near the priest at the altar. We have Venus, 13 degrees of Leo, an old sea captain rocking on the porch of his cottage. And we have Mars, 1 degree of Gemini, a glass bottom boat reveals undersea wonders. In the context of all this and everything that we've been talking about, themes of emerging, you guys, just like we had in the energy to start on Friday. We were talking about the daybreak. We were talking about the sun, the rise of the sun, the early morning, the eastern horizon, this fresh start, this action-oriented phase of change, with Mars moving into the sign of Gemini, also representing action-oriented phase of change, like kicking into action. Themes of emerging now coming through in the position of the sun and the position of the earth on Sunday, like those specific keywords, emerging. Themes of emerging out of something and into something else. What are we emerging out of? We are emerging out of the ocean waves. We are also talking about Venus, an old sea captain rocking on the porch of his cottage. So we are merging out of the waves and sort of maybe reminiscing about the past. The waves, the water, this is symbolic of our emotions. We are emerging out of our past emotional states and into this new perspective, this new mindset, these new ideas, this transformation in our conscious awareness of things. The butterfly emerging from the chrysalis. This is a creature of the air ruling the mind, right? So we are emerging out of the waves, the oceans, the emotions, the feelings of the past into a new transformed mindset. And it is based in this faith in the revelations of truth. Venus, the boy with a censer, serves at the priest near the altar. Mars, 1 degree of Gemini, a glass bottom boat reveals undersea wonders. Based in faith, based in revelations of what is really happening, what has been going on under the surface, what is the true state of those emotions. Like, we are discovering what the core root of our emotional issues or something like that has been. It's like opening our eyes to something, it's changing our perspective, it's bringing back a return of the light, and it's causing this rebirth. We are emerging from the chrysalis as a butterfly capable of taking off and flying now. So that is what I have to say, you guys, for the energy as it's playing out this weekend. Very interesting weekend that we have going on. And yeah, definitely though, putting these themes on this information. If you find yourself getting in a little spat with somebody here or there, it's just the time for that type of thing. It's just primed in the field, but we really should do our best to not be impulsively reacting to things with anger. When we have any type of sense of misunderstanding, or if we are not seeing things clearly also, we do not want to take action, because I have personally seen, on multiple occasions, when there is a harsh Neptune aspect going on with something, especially Mercury, our choices, our decisions, the options, the alternatives, what we're choosing to do opposite Neptune. Neptune breaks things down, you guys. Neptune makes things fade away. Neptune, it's Pisces. It's the 12th house. It's where we erode and fade and evaporate back into source, into all that is, but also into nothingness. So a lot of times when we make choices or make decisions or make options or make commitments, when we have a harsh Neptune aspect going on, the ultimate outcome of that is to fade into nothing. So that's what I'm saying, you guys. If we can avoid doing that right now, it's probably in our best interest, and we're probably not seeing things clearly anyways, and we definitely don't want to be fighting about it. So let's use this Mars Gemini energy to really get inspired, get motivated mentally, really get on top of getting our lists done, getting our activities done, being on schedule, being on task, being as productive as we possibly can, and not allow the excess energy to sort of simmer and stew and make us just self-critical and just angry about, this, that, and the other, or gossiping, or getting our ego really intertwined with our ideas so that we feel like if someone's criticizing our ideas, they're criticizing like us personally and we need to attack. Like, let's just try to refrain from any of that and try to use this energy to get our ducks in a row, get our stuff together so that when we finally get some clarity, we are ready to take off and to make that choice or decision. So let's grab a synchronicity card now, you guys. This is just a little message from God's Spirit Universe to assist us this weekend as we are navigating. We just had one come flying out. And it's funny, it says rest, relax, and believe. So this is what we need to know. This is going to benefit us throughout the course of our weekend. It says, he feedeth among the lilies until the day breaks and the shadows flee away. Now, is that a coincidence, you guys? Because I'm pretty sure on Friday we were talking about literally the Sabian symbol of the sun, which is the first thing I write down in the energy on Friday. Literally the first thing it says on my paper in my notebook for the energy that we have playing out this weekend. It says daybreak. And then in this card, like the first line up there, it says daybreak. So crazy. Day breaks and the shadows flee away. So yes, new beginnings coming, you guys. Take refuge. Song of Solomon's 2:16 through 17. Take refuge among the lilies of God and heaven, and dwell upon the concepts of joy, harmony, peace, beauty, and divine law and order. All your plans, journeys, and undertakings will prosper. Continue in this abiding trust and faith in God until the day breaks and the shadows flee away. Daybreak, the luminescence of dawn on the eastern horizon, you guys. We are just needing to have faith. We are needing to sort of ride this one out. We are needing to use our energy in a productive way that is beneficial to the trajectory that we want to go on now, and not be making impulsive, spontaneous, rash decisions or getting ourselves into fights that are creating a negative state within us that are not truly benefiting us in our process. This is daybreak and the shadows flee away, and we are on the verge of a shift right now, but definitely these information themes coming in this weekend as well. So that is what I have to say, you guys. Message from the stars going on this weekend, and our little synchronicity message to carry us through. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think that they would like it and be interested in this kind of content too. Leave me comments, you guys. I love your comments. I love your feedback. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. I have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, a website, and some other social media stuff. Those are in my description box below, and come back with me on Monday, you guys. We have another week of astrology to talk about, and we are heading towards our new moon in Virgo. So lots to talk about. I'll be here. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it, and I will see you then, everybody. Have a beautiful weekend. Till next time. Bye, guys.